Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's video. We're going to have a look at the weather for next week to 10 days. For today's video, that's going to take us to around the 3rd of October. So we're extending out into the start of next month with the week to 10 day video updates at the moment. And of course, let's start beyond that, the extended GFS and ECM ensembles over to around a couple of weeks. Have a look at CFSV2 at the end of the video for the next month as well. Now, if I do anything else, I'm going to say a big thank you to our latest PayPal donor. So we've had a new donation for Gas Office, and our donor is Michael Prime. So a big thank you to Michael Prime for becoming our latest PayPal donor. Thank you so much, Michael, for doing that. If you would like to become a PayPal donor for Gas Office, all you need to do is come to the Gas Office PayPal page, sign into your PayPal account, then give a donation to Gas Office, how much you want. You get a mention in the videos as long as you want. But if you'd rather stay anonymous, just leave a little message with your donation to let us know you'd like to stay anonymous, and that's absolutely fine if you do that. We'll just say thank you to this anonymous person, something like that. Alternatively, you can become a patron for Gas Office. So this is the Gas Office Patreon page. We've got 62 patrons so far. Hello and a big thank you to our 62 patrons. So if you would like to become a patron of Gas Office, then just come here, sign into your Patreon account, assuming you don't already have one. And then you can give an ongoing monthly donation to Gas Office. It could be anything from $1 a month upwards. By doing that, you will become a patron for Gas Office. And whether you do it through Patreon or through PayPal, you'll get a mention in the videos. I will say thank you very much for doing that. You're helping us to pay for the website, gasweathervids.com, and keep content online. So a big thank you to everybody for doing that. Big thank you to our patrons, big thank you to our PayPal donors, and special thank you to Michael Prime for becoming our latest donor. Right, so we're going to start off in the tropical Atlantic for this video. I've got 3 interest areas. So we've got 2 tropical storms and a tropical depression. We've got Tropical Storm Jerry just there, Tropical Storm Karen is down there, and then we've got Tropical Depression, or we've got Depression 13 over there. More about that in a moment. Let's deal with Jerry first of all. So Tropical Storm Jerry is giving maximum sustained winds of 65 miles per hour with a central pressure of 993 millibars. It's moving north-northwest at 9 miles an hour. If we go here, we can see exactly what Jerry is forecast to do over the next few days by the National Hurricane Center. So the current position of Jerry is just there, going to move directly northwards in the next 24 hours and then sort of curve in that direction. And perhaps give a glancing blow to Bermuda, to the Bermuda Island. It's going to be a tropical storm, so it could be copious amounts of rain associated with Jerry. Excuse me, and quite strong winds as well, of course, pretty damaging winds, but not reaching hurricane status if the forecast is correct. Then we also have Karen, so let's just quickly go back and say that Karen is, Tropical Storm Karen is given 40 mile per hour sustained winds with a central pressure of 1007 millibars, and Karen is moving northwest at 8 miles per hour. If we have a look at what Karen is forecast to do, so it seems like Tropical Storm Karen is going to move more or less directly northwards from the current position, which is just there, perhaps moving directly through Puerto Rico and then heading northwards to be sitting somewhere between around the Bahamas and Bermuda by next weekend, perhaps again still as a tropical storm. So at the moment, neither Jerry nor Karen are being forecast to reach hurricane status. They are both forecast to remain as tropical storms. And then finally, we've got 13 just here, Tropical Depression 13, which is currently giving maximum sustained winds of 35 miles per hour. With a central pressure of 1007 millibars and moving westwards quite quickly at 15 miles per hour. Now, this was a tropical wave that was on the coast of Africa on Saturday. We did Saturday's video. There was a disturbance area, and it had a high probability of becoming a named storm through the course of this week, and we are virtually on the cusp of this becoming Tropical Storm Lorenzo, and I would anticipate this will be named as Lorenzo any time today, so any time within the next few hours. This is the forecast for what is currently Tropical Depression 13. Current position is just there. So you see that at any point today, could even be when you're watching this video in an hour or so's time, this will be named Tropical Storm Lorenzo. And also, it's going to power up to a hurricane. So by Wednesday, we're up to a Category 1 hurricane. By the end of the week, we're up to Category 2 Hurricane Lorenzo as this system pushes into the middle of the tropical Atlantic Ocean. Of course, whether it powers up more than Category 2, whether it goes up to a major hurricane status, and where this system goes, it's too early to say. So all eyes will be on Lorenzo in the next few days to see exactly how much this storm powers up and where it goes. But this is turning into quite an active hurricane season now. And Atlantic storm season. After a quiet start back in August, we have very little activity or very reduced activity, but certainly September's been much more active, and it'll be interesting whether this carries on into October, of course. So we've got wet weather moving in across the UK today. This is really setting the scene, actually, for the coming week. There's going to be plenty of rain around in the coming week. This is the radar image at Gauss Weather Insulators from the weather radar. And you can see that, yes, we've got another band of heavy rain here, stretching from Ireland through the Irish Sea into Wales, southwestern parts of England. That's going to carry on pushing northwards and eastwards through the course of this afternoon, bring quite a bit of rain through the Midlands into some central southern parts of England as well this afternoon into the sea. It may carry on northwards. It'll turn drier actually for a time this evening, and then more really heavy rain will set in later on in the night. It's going to be a very wet start to tomorrow. More about that in the video later on. So these are the 500 millibar height anomaly flow charts from the Penn State University for the next week to 10 days. This is taking us to the 3rd of October. The ECMWF here is on the top, and the GFS, which I'll have a look in a moment, is on the bottom. 500 millibars is an area in the atmosphere. High pressure, low pressure being moved around by the jet stream. And so blue is extrapolating to low pressure, and orange and red extrapolates to high pressure. These are the mean flow charts for the 7 to 10 day time frame, and this will take us into the early part of October, the opening days of October. So you see, it's a very complicated looking pattern that we've got here with the ECM. We've got a lot of blocking up to our northwest, so it's high pressure through the Arctic and extending down into Greenland. There's also a deep trough of low pressure that's in over Scandinavia and going down to northern parts of Europe. There's an area of low pressure in the middle of the Atlantic with tropical elements just there, and then there's also a ridge across or down towards Spain. So the blocking area of high pressure over Greenland and the trough over Scandinavia, that's trying to pull the winds into the north, and actually it will give quite a push of northerly winds into Scandinavia in around a week to 10 days time. But then we've got the ridge across Spain and the low pressure in the Atlantic that are trying to bring in milder or even warmer west or southwest winds. It's a very complicated pattern, but the upshot is it looks pretty unsettled, certainly to the end of September and possibly even into October. Now, the GFS is more straightforward and it's colder. So we have this ridge again, blocking area of high pressure over the Arctic and extending down to Greenland into the North Atlantic. And then we've got this deep trough through Scandinavia. The difference is we don't have as much of a ridge over Spain, and so this is just a much more direct sort of northwesterly influence here that we have for the opening days of October. That could potentially bring the first widespread air frost overnight to air frost of the season, and possibly even the first sort of snowflakes of the season falling over the Scottish mountains, perhaps, with those northerly winds. There is this deep area of low pressure in the Atlantic, and I don't think it would be that long before this low would be rolling in from the west. But certainly there is a bit of a cold snap being indicated there quite clearly from the GFS for the opening days of October. And we see it also on the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next 2 weeks. We're looking at rugby today. So the red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for rugby. And we're starting off still relatively warm, actually. The upper air temperatures are still above average. It's not as warm as it was over the weekend, but in the sunshine it still feels quite pleasant. The next couple of days staying relatively warm, and then a drop in the temperature taking place at the end of the week through to next weekend. Or through to the weekend and possibly to the start of next week. That's that little northerly cold snap. Beyond that, through the first week of October, looks like the temperature is lifting up, so possibly becoming warmer. But there is a lot of scatter in there. I mean, we've got these ensemble members up here, which are the warmest ensemble members. They're very, very warm, actually. They're going up to close to 20 degrees at 858 K, which would be quite remarkable in early October. But these ones down here are much colder. They're sort of between 0 and -5 at 850 HPA. So there's almost like a 20 degree, maybe more than 20 degree temperature differential between the warmest and coldest ensemble members through this through the second half of the first week of October. So a lot of uncertainty there. The trend looks like it's a bit on the warmer side though, and plenty of precipitation. Now you must have noticed this big rainfall spike just here. That's the deluge that we've got coming up sort of late tonight and into tomorrow morning. Going to be really, really heavy rain across some parts of England and Wales. Tomorrow morning could give up to 25 millimetres in places with risk of flash flooding. And because it's been very dry, the roads could be a little bit slippery as well with all of this rain falling on them. So going to be perhaps a tricky rush hour for many parts of the country tomorrow morning, particularly England and Wales, so do take care if you're out in the car early tomorrow. After that, it looks like it's just unsettled, so there's showers or longer spells of rain through the rest of this week, and then into the weekend we might be seeing signs of another rain event sometime around Saturday through to Sunday, again focused on England and Wales. That's a long way off and we'll have to firm up on that, but we could have another bout of really wet weather at some point over the weekend. And then into next week, well, still showery and unsettled, at least initially, possibly going a bit drier though as we head towards the second week of October. That's as the temperatures are going to pick up a little bit as well. So maybe hints of some higher pressure there into the second week of October. We should wait and see about that. That's a really long way off, of course. Temperature anomalies from the 23rd of September to the 1st of October are very close to or slightly above average. It's not a big deviation, but we are on the slightly milder than average side. Precipitation anomalies are wetter than average for England and Wales in particular. So you'll see a bit of a north-south split there. But interestingly, England and Wales are wetter than Scotland and Northern Ireland, where rainfall is around average. This is probably going to be the most consistently wet spell of weather that we've had for much of England and Wales, particularly southern and eastern parts of England and Wales, since June. So quite notable rain to come in the next week from the 23rd of September to the 1st of October. That's how the 6 o'clock run of GFS is looking for Thursday. Generally quite wet and windy. Low pressure is out to the west of Scotland on Thursday. Got quite tightly packed isobars, so it'll be pretty windy. And there is a weather front that's coming across the country as well. That's going to bring outbreaks of rain with it. We're into sunshine and showers on Friday. Isobars are a little bit more tightly packed, so it'll be an even windier day on Friday, if anything. Then we go into the weekend, showery for Saturday, but as we go through to Sunday, we've got an area of low pressure developing around here, so that could bring more wet weather into the south. At the same time, this main low is clearing over to Scandinavia and trying to turn the winds in to the north. So we set up a little bit of a battle later in the weekend through to the start of next week with low pressure here, bring potentially quite a lot of wet weather through England and Wales, but colder northerly winds trying to push down into Scotland. There's the remains of what is likely to become Hurricane Lorenzo just there, by the way. And now as we go through next week, that low pressure moves across England and Wales, bringing potentially another deluge early next week, gets out of the way to the east, and then we turn the wind into a direct north to northeasterly wind. So this is a cold wind that's coming in from the north or the northeast. It could well give us our first overnight frost from the 1st through to the 2nd of October. Overnight, widespread overnight air frost, I should say. Have had ground frost during mid-September, but we could have our first sort of proper sub-zero air frost overnight from the 1st to the 2nd of October. Maybe the first snowflakes falling over Scottish mountains as well. So winds turn into the north, and then the high pressure topples down across the country during the opening days of October. That will potentially give us those cold nights. By the time we get through to day 10, which is Thursday, the 3rd of October, we're beginning to bring milder westerlies back in from off the Atlantic, and possibly some more rain up in the north, but in the south it will be mostly dry. In the extended range of this GFS run, it wants to bring a reasonable amount of dry weather to southern and eastern parts of the country, but does look more unsettled up in the north. So for the south, going into a drier spell of weather and quite warm. For the north, showery and a little bit more unsettled there. This is the 5-day accumulated precipitation total forecast chart from that GFS run from the weatheroutlook.com. This is up to 6 a.m. on Saturday. You see widely we're between around 40 and 60 millimetres of rain across most parts of the country, and a lot of that is falling late tonight and into tomorrow morning actually, so a lot of that is going to fall within quite a short time frame, but it certainly looks like it's going to be a pretty wet 5 days coming up, and then the 10-day precipitation total looking like that, anything between around sort of 50 and 80 millimetres likely. So this is going to be a consistently wet week to 10 days, and say for southern and eastern parts of the country, probably the wettest spell of weather that we've had since June. That's how the GEO is looking for Thursday. Rather wet and windy day on Thursday, and then we're into sunshine and showers on Friday. Over the weekend, got another major area of low pressure developing there, Saturday through to Sunday, so that could deliver gale force winds to the south and probably a bout of heavy rain at some point over the weekend too. That gets out of the way, leads us into a cool and showery northwesterly wind. Then into more extended range, we start to build up some higher pressure to the south, but it does still look unsettled up to the north into the opening days of October. And that's the ECMWF. Again, rather unsettled on Thursday, wet and windy, back to sunshine and showers for Friday into the weekend. Saturday is showery. On Sunday, we've got this next system just here. That could give another soaking across England and Wales, in particular on Sunday, as further north winds are turning into the north, bring cooler air into Scotland. That's Monday. Could be quite a chilly day on Monday. Don't rule out the chance of a frost, perhaps. Sometime early next week if the skies are clear enough. But very quickly, the ECM is rolling this low pressure back in from off the Atlantic. So we don't get as much of a northerly snap at the beginning of October with the ECM as we do with the GFS. The ECM just looking very unsettled. There's the remains of what is going to become Hurricane Lorenzo just there, I think. So again, that looks like a major system heading into the northern part of the Atlantic Ocean. As we get to day 10, that's how we're looking. It's Thursday, the 3rd of October, and still looking quite unsettled, actually, especially for northern parts of the country. And obviously, we would have to keep a very close eye on where this area of low pressure is going that contains the remains of Lorenzo. We'll have to keep a very, very close eye on where that's going as we go further into the first week of October. This is the precipitation forecast from Tometeo.com based on that midnight run of the ECM. So even as early as today, we've already seen on the radar picture at Gazlovitz, of course, even as early as today, rain is coming in from the Atlantic, bringing many of us wet weather through the course of this afternoon and into this evening. The rain turns more showery through the evening, but then it begins to pep up later in the night, turns really wet across much of England and Wales tomorrow morning. This could, I say, give 25 millimetres and an inch of rain in places. There is a risk of some thunder being mixed in with this wet weather as well. You notice it's not as wet as Scotland and Northern Ireland. This is particularly focused on England and Wales tomorrow morning. That rain then clears away to the east, leaves us with showers, more wet weather across many southern parts of the country overnight, Tuesday into Wednesday. Wednesday is a day of sunshine and showers before the next batch of wet and windy weather comes in on Thursday. That's going to give us more unsettled conditions. On Friday, we're back to showers, and then into the weekend, Saturday looks showery. I mean, as we go into Sunday, watch out for this area of low pressure potentially bringing another bout of really wet weather across England and Wales in particular on Sunday. So that's a long way off. It might go to our south and we miss that, or it might develop into quite a significant area of low pressure as the GEM does with it over the weekend and bring another bout of really wet and windy weather. So we'll keep you updated on that, of course. And then into next week, we're into sunshine and showers. Again, perhaps a more persistent area of rain coming in late on Monday next week. And we'll just keep these systems rolling in from off the Atlantic with further showers, if not longer spells of rain coming through. So it looks like a very, very unsettled sort of final week or so of September. Regular bouts of rain coming in. That's how we look at day 10, with a band of rain then stuck through the central swathe of the country, and that will bring lots of wet weather to central areas of the UK. It looks like a much more unsettled week ahead. So these are the options are on the table within the ECM ensembles at day 10. This from the Icelandic Met Office gets us to the 3rd of October. We have 12 members of the ECM ensembles with a blocking area of high pressure over Greenland and high pressure to our south, but low pressure is through the Atlantic and over Scandinavia. It's a very messy pattern. There's probably a weather front strung out in that sort of position as well. Then we have 11, and that does include the control and the operational run, by the way. The operational is the run we was just looking at. Then we have 11 members of the ECM ensembles just here with high pressure more or less over the country, so that's a drier option. 8 with high pressure to the south and low pressure to the north. They're a little bit more unsettled. Another 8 with high pressure just to our west. That's a drier but perhaps rather cool option. 7 with high pressure over the top of the country, and 5 with high pressure just out to the west, bringing down some cooler north to northwesterly winds with those. Lots of options on the table for day 10, and it all hinges on the exact position of high pressure versus low pressure, of course. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. Gets us further into October, so this gets us to the 8th of October. Have 11 members of the ECM ensembles looking very unsettled. Low pressure is through the country. Obviously, they're going to be wet, windy, and autumnal. 10 with low pressure out to the northwest and high pressure to our south-southwest. That's going to be a relatively drier option, particularly for the south, a little bit warmer too. 10 with low pressure out to west of us. Another 10, low pressure out to west of us. That's probably quite a wet and windy option. 8 with high pressure just to our southwest, just there, so that's a drier option, maybe a bit on the cool side. Another 8 with high pressure over the country virtually, and then 4 with high pressure up over Scandinavia, and they'll be bringing in easterly winds. So again, this first week of October, quite a lot of uncertainty. I think we are going to try and build up some high pressure through the first week of October, but how long it's going to last for remains to be seen. Just have a very quick look at ZSV2. So these are 500 millibar heights, break it down into weekly periods. The first weekly period will take us from the 23rd to 29th of September. The coming week is unsettled with a blocking area of high pressure to the north and low pressure over and to the west of the country. Another ridge is down across Spain. We're bringing in westerly winds, so it's going to be a more unsettled week than we've had for quite a while. Then we go through to week 2, which is the 30th of September to 6th of October. High pressure then is set up to our south. Low pressure is to our north-northwester with a lot of blocking over Greenland. That's probably a drier and warmer spell through the opening days of October. Remember, it could be a little bit of a cold snap in there just as we begin October, and then it probably starts to turn a bit warmer, especially so down in the south. Week 3, though, is going unsettled again. This is the 7th to the 13th of October, with below average heights to the north of the country and bringing in westerly winds as well. So that's more unsettled week 3 from the 7th to the 13th of October. And week 4 also looks unsettled with this CFS run. So that's the 14th to the 20th of October. And again, looking rather autumnal, low pressure out to the north-northwest, bringing in these westerly winds. That could be starting to set up quite an unsettled pattern for October now, the CFS. So we'll worry about that when we get to it. Anyway, we've got uncertainty for sort of the first week of October, so anything beyond that going to be unreliable. It's been a little while since we've had a really unsettled October, so I suppose we're due a wet October, and we shall see whether this is going to be it. But going back to the more reasonable time frame, because next week's 10 days, so certainly the rest of September is going to be unsettled. There's no getting away from that. An unsettled rest of September, autumnal, wet, windy at times too. So if you've been waiting for a bit of autumn after all of the high pressure dominated weather in recent weeks, particularly for the south, of course, then this week is for you. As we get through to the beginning of October, I think we're going to have a go at building up some high pressure, but how long that lasts for remains to be seen. Remember, we're going to have the remains of Hurricane Lorenzo in the North Atlantic as well through the first week of October. That will add an extra layer of uncertainty, definitely, within the model output. So that's it for the video for today. Don't forget to check out the fourth Winter 2019-2020 update that we released yesterday. We also did a live chat yesterday evening between 5 and 6 o'clock. You can play that back, have a replay, and listen to that. Video is on the YouTube channel and on the homepage at Gaz. So tomorrow we've got the ECMWF 30-day look ahead for the UK and for Europe too. That'll be the first video tomorrow, and we'll have that's a 30-day look ahead. We'll have a week to 10-day video update as well tomorrow afternoon. But that's all for now, and thanks for watching.